DL1BJW. N4XAT. From the home station on the Far Coast, call your members and friends at Pennine on for the Thursday evening digital net. So before we start on the net, I'm just going to go to G4IWO. Good evening, Nick, and welcome, Mike. Just to confirm, are we up on YouTube tonight or not?
Yeah, G4IWO returning. Yes, we are live on YouTube, Jeff, and we've already got a couple of people watching us. Over.
Thanks very much, Nick, and could be a peanut tonight by the look of it. Let's see if all the call signs come back from there. Okay, so we'll go to the waters first of all, you, GM4JK's Amy Group. Good evening, Keith. I'm 0AUG.
M0AUG, the group GM4JKZ. Yes, good evening, Jeff and one and all, and our listener on YouTube. Not very exciting this week for me. I'll start off with temperature, 13.8 degrees outside and raining. Yesterday was rather interesting. Family returned home from Somerset. On the way up, there was torrential rain, which some of you may have experienced across the Midlands as well. And my other half, when she got onto the A7 up here in Scotland, had to pull over into a lay-by because she literally couldn't see the road in front of her. The rain was so heavy. But the good thing that came out of it, I don't have to wash the car, it's been power washed. So I mustn't grumble about that one. Radio-wise, this last few days, most of work Ken down in Spain on the 1st, on 20 metres, and he kindly put my audio on WhatsApp, which was really nice to actually hear what I sound like. So I was really good at that one. And the other thing, I did have a look at JFO8NC's report and had a look through on his webpage as well. So that's really interesting, I must admit. I'm going to revisit it again just to pick up on some of the other things which I probably didn't register on initially. But that's pretty good, most impressed. So back to you, Jeff, M0AG in the group GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ in the group M0AG, just before we go off, do you know whether Jim's on this evening or whether he's listening on YouTube there? Back to you.
Yeah, he won't be on tonight. I'm not sure if he's listening on YouTube. I'm feeling he may be at the club tonight. Okay.
Whiskey, I'll take him off the list. So, we now have John, who's been connected to GB7HX for a while. And how are you joining us this evening, John? G7PFY in the group, M0AEG. Nothing else from John. He's been connected since lunchtime, so regard him as not wanting to come on this evening. Over to you then, Martin. M1 MLB in the group, M0AEG. I'll be quite conversation from the food shop.
Yeah, we certainly are M0AEG from M1 MRB. Yeah, great trip, and I'm sure Nick to tell you his mega temperatures on the continent. We were finding it 35 degrees at sort of 9 o'clock at night down in Frieshaven. Really nice. Enjoyed the show. Highlight for me is I met up with Nick and Adriana, Mike and Adriana. So that was a good chat. Say hi to them. We spoke 2 or 3 times over the 2 days. And yeah, hopefully, lots of interesting stuff and content will come out of it if you guys are interested at a later date. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed myself. And before Nick asked me, yes, I saw Emil, but unfortunately I didn't attend his lecture. The boys, when you're working with a team, sometimes I'm set up to do interviews and I'm not, I duck out for a second and then get called back to do them. But I did actually talk to Emil and yeah, lovely guy, big smile on his face. There are a few pictures going up on Facebook with it, but he was just generally pleased to see me and we had a nice chat and that was recorded audio. So yeah, I'm waffling, Jeff. I'm apologetic on that one, but yeah, 19 hours to get home now, so I don't think I'd ride it again. Back to you, M0AUG, M1MLB. M1MLB in the group, M0AUG, yeah, fine and not often, and so please leave me able to hook up with Mike and Adriana and what was out here about various questions as we go further down the line. So, over to you then, G4IW in the group, M0AUG, good evening again.
M0AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, good evening everybody, and like Martin, I'm back in the UK. We just had a week away. Thankfully, the weather was not as hot in Picardy in northern France. We were in a campsite on or very close to the Bay of the Somme, and although it was very pleasant, probably temperatures around about 24, 25 degrees, it wasn't exceptionally hot, which is very good when you're living basically outside, and that was very pleasant. And in fact, the hottest temperature we had was our journey back when we arrived back in Kent, where we stayed overnight in Kent before driving back up here to just outside Manchester. So I'll give a report on the next over of my activations, very brief activations, 3 different sessions while I was there in France. Probably, of course, the only member in the club I actually made contact with and had a nice QSO with was Ken, EA5 stroke G4 VZV. We had a single sideband contact on 17 meters, and he was very strong with some QSB. I didn't think conditions on the radio were that good last week, but nevertheless I had a lot of fun. So back to you, Jeff. M0AUG in the group from G4IWO.
G4IWO in the group, 0AUG. Yeah, thanks for the update there, Nick. Did jump out of line deliberately there so you could give us a bit of an update on your journey there. So we'll now go back over to Germany, and on Germany yet, go over to Belgium with Oscar November 8 November Tango in the group. Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening, Jeff, and everyone. Good evening and a good afternoon to Bob in the States, and to everyone on the YouTube channel. Well, we had 37, 38 degrees during the past couple of days today, and actually yesterday, in the time of two hours, it dropped from 37 to 24, 25, and 2 hours. Amazing, really amazing. But was very good actually, because it was too hot. Today we had about 21, 22 degrees, something like that, with sunshine, and so that's a little bit the story this side. For the moment, I'm testing out the OpenSpot 4 Pro with the app, the Android app, so I'm not using a transceiver for the moment. So this is just another solution if you are abroad or something, or if you are in the hospital or whatever. So you don't need to get your transceivers taken with you. So I'm just testing. I know from Martin that the audio is quite acceptable. So on that, I will come back to my transceiver and the terminal mode of the transceiver. So I put it back to you, Jeff. My AUG, the group ON 8 November Tango.
Tango in the group M08 returning. Yeah, the audio's it sounds different from the new one, Jeff, but perfectly acceptable to me. And I know quite a few people that are using the OpenSpot 4 as well. And yeah, fine. So let's hear some news now from Northern Germany. Over to Delta Juliewski with Delta Lima 8, Bravo Delta Tango. Over to you there, Mike. Good evening to you both.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey. Very good evening, very good afternoon to one and all, and happy to be with you again. And we are okay over here. We returned from southern Germany, from Lake Constance yesterday, and it was very hot indeed. And yesterday it was even hotter on the return journey. We had 37 degrees centigrade there, and I was very, very grateful that our car has got a climate control, so it was okay for traveling. But in the evening there, as Jeff also talked about, there was also a very big thunderstorm field here, which had dropped down from 37, 36 to 20, I think. So today it's much more agreeable with 21 degrees centigrade. But the sun is still very intense. You have to be very careful about exposing your skin to the sun, even if the temperature is so high. One word to Friedrichshafen and radio exhibition there. It was a real pleasure to be there after we had to pass the possibility last year because of my gallbladder. So it was good fun for us to participate again and to meet a lot of people there. First, to be mentioned, of course, Martin M1 MRB. That was a real pleasure to meet Martin and Mrs. B and the guys from the ICQ podcast crew there. We met several times and had a lot to talk about. That was a real highlight for us. Furthermore, we had some encounters with Emil, DLA-JJ, and a special treat, I got my QSL card from him directly, so that was also something on top. it was very interesting to see all the exhibition exponents there. They had three halls. The first one was with the professional dealers, and there were quite a lot of them present. And the two other halls were flea market halls. This was also very interesting to see and to talk with some people there, and was all very nice. And a great bonus plus was that part of the halls were under climate control, so it was not so hot inside as it was outside HI. Yeah, so far from my side for this over, passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, very good evening to all of you. This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. And yes, as Mike just said, back from Friedrichshafen was a real pleasure, especially to meet all friends, especially you, Martin, and your crew. And it was amazing what variety of things you could see and listen to there. It hasn't been possible to take part in all which had been presented there, but it was, as always, a great pleasure to meet people whom you know from the band, and some of the great sellers and distributors there, and this was quite interesting and was a very great pleasure. So, as always, it's quite good to meet people all over the world, and we hadn't bought much, but some small things there, and it's as always so that when leaves the exhibition, there are several sorts of things and new ideas and impressions there. So I hand the microphone back to M0.
He was the alum BJW in the group, M0AG returning. Thanks very much for the report so far. I'm sure you'll have more things to tell us in the next over, and we'll see who we can bring in now. The next one is Delta Golf Oscar and Alpha Yankee, which is Frank Shield. Good evening to you, Frank. Welcome again.
Yes, hello. Good evening to patients and listeners. It has been a while since I've been here, but I don't know. I was quite busy, and today it's warm, but not so hot summer evening, so I'm back again. We also went from a little bit over 30 degrees because we're close to the sea, not so hot, but also just over 30 degrees. Down to something like 15 or 16 this morning, and now we are back to a normal summer day like I know them from the time when I was young, but yeah, that was extreme yesterday. We also had a small thunderstorm, but not too heavy. And yeah, what I've been doing recently, there were probably a lot of things to talk about. The submarine, I've been there quite often, and I also did, now I started with polar activity on the bike and with a tent. So made some small activities here. And this weekend we visited the island of Helgoland, actually for seeing the gannet birds there. It's a lot easier to travel to Helgoland than to travel north to see the largest colony of these birds. And but since Helgoland also has the polar active number, I also activated that island, and had some fun even with more European world station because the first contact I had was Japan. And okay, after that, only one more European station, but that was quite a surprise and successful activation there. And yeah, that's what it did the last weeks or months, and now back to M0AVG, back to Joff.
Yes, thanks for that, Frank, and it's good to have you on the net again this evening. As you say, it's been quite a while. We've had a couple of things crop up, and we can't always join in, and we take it from there. So, I'm going to try Dave now down in Taunton. E677 in the group M0AUG. G677 in the group M0AUG. G677 in the group M0AUG. Try once more before we move on. G677 in the group M0AUG. Try next time round, Dave. G3SAO in the group. Good evening. M0AUG.
M0AUG in the group, G3SAO returning. Very good evening, Jeff. Very good evening to everybody. Yes, I just heard on one of those requests for the Taunton station some rather garbled audio that wasn't coming through properly. Then the one after those last two, it was silent, so I don't know what's happened down there. Yeah, it's a very pleasant evening here. It's been up to about 19-20 degrees here today. We've not had any of the very hot weather, that's further south. My daughter down near the south coast has been roasting in 34, 35 Celsius, but it's been much more pleasant up here. And so far we've escaped the rain, but I think we're going to get some at the weekend. Radio-wise, I've not done a lot. I've worked one or two portable stations, one in Norway, Pota station, one in Hungary, not a Pota station. I've worked an American on holiday in Spain, and I was surprised to get my QRP across into Puerto Rico yesterday evening. Quite a decent report, so I was pleased about that. But other than that, I've not been doing a great deal at the moment. One or two other things that are keeping me busy. I've not really done any gardening yet. I've been out and removed some dandelions, but the grass is yet to be done. That's got to be cut. So that's the story of my week, really. M0AUG and the group G3. Before I hand it back, many thanks, Jeff, for your notes, which came through on WhatsApp. As always, very interesting. And as I missed the radio astronomy talk, I've bookmarked it so I can go back and watch it probably sometime tomorrow. So thank you again for that. M0AUG group G3SAO.
Yes, well, that's on. Good to have you on the net as usual this evening. Over to the US now, and November 4 X-ray, Albert Tango in the group. M0AUG. Good evening, Bob. M0AUG with the group. November 4 X-ray, Alpha Tango. Good evening. Good afternoon to all. It's another warm day. Right now it's 31 Celsius here, 88 Fahrenheit. There's heavy storms again this evening. But the thing is, last few weeks, our air conditioner broke down yesterday afternoon. I can take the heat. I just can't take the humidity. And of course, when the air conditioner goes, this place gets very humid. But at any rate, I survived. And I want to thank Frank for the photos that you sent me, Frank. I do appreciate that. Hans Jurgen and Maren went to Helgoland a few weeks ago, and one of the photos that they sent had a ship in the background that I used here on at the NYD Star net. So a lot of the photos that I use are from the people that send me them, especially from Deutschland. So thank you again, Frank, and thank you to Mike and Adriana for that nice video that you did from Friedrichshafen. I certainly enjoyed that. That was really really spectacular video, and a couple of nice photos with some interesting people also. I appreciate that. And not much else here. Of course, I spent most of my time in the radio room, and the QSB has been awful. Signal will be 5.7 and down to nothing, and then back to 5.7. And one of the problems is I'll make half contact and never get the response because of the QSB. But at any rate, it's a lot of fun. Hi. Back to you, Jeff. And 0AG, November 4, and Sherry Alpha Tango. Yes, thanks for your contribution there, Bob, as usual. And where we are on the northwest of England has not been too bad. The weather's has been getting a bit warmer, but it's starting to go down there with a fair bit of rain this evening. Catch you next time out there. I will see you there. GJJ in the group, M0AG. Good evening.
Good evening, Jeff. M0AUG is the group GAKJJ, and greetings to everyone on the net. Weather in Nottingham has been sunny all day, maximum temperature 24 Celsius, very pleasant, not too warm, and being able to do one or two things in the garden. I've done very little operating this week. The best DX was D30DTT on FT8. I think that's North Tarawa in Kabati, and I think they used to call the islands Gilbert Ellis Islands in the old days. And I remember as a young man being fascinated by Arthur Grimble's book about those islands. I think it was called Pennine Islands, and it did inspire me to actually to go abroad in a way. My wife and I finished up in an island in the Bahamas for a number of years, and it was a very pleasant island, very small, 12 miles by 6, and it would have been a great island to activate on radio, but I wasn't licensed at that time, although I did look into it whilst I was in the Bahamas. The island was called San Salvador, and it's the most eastern island of the Bahamas. Anyway, I'll pass it back to you, Jeff, and I've got a bit more to say about things on the next over. So AUG is the group, GAKJJ.
GAKJJ, the group M0AG telling. Yes, fun and I look forward to hearing more on the next time around. We're back up to the top of the list again. GM4JJ in the group, M0AUG. Good night this evening, Keith.
M0AUG in the group, GM4JK. So, yes, a nice cluster of people this evening. And yes, I agree with Bob. Adriana's little video was really good for us people that can't get there to Friedrichshafen. So, yeah, thanks very much for that. And grass cutting, I spent most of my time in the garden with the other half away. So looking after the veg and cutting, I think it's 5 areas of grass on last Saturday. So I mustn't grumble too much. It's looking pretty good, but with that rain we had yesterday, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be out there again this Saturday. So there we go. Jeff ON8NT, your open slot 4 on your Android link is, I would put your audio quality very similar to the Zoom audio. So it sounds pretty good to me, I must admit. Can't grumble at all. One snippet of info for anybody running I found I did running a Pi-Star hotspot. I upgraded to, I think it was 4.1.10, if I remember rightly, as it came up across the top with an alert. But I found that I couldn't get it DMR. What I had to do was go into Grandmeister and redo the API key and copy it across back into the dashboard config, and then everything works okay. So just be wary of that one if you are running Grandmeister links. What else? Tick that one off. Radio-wise, my longest distance this week, I only worked 6 stations so far. As I was saying, Ken was one of them. The best DX was South Korea on FT8 on the first. So I must do better this week, he says. So with that, I'll put it back to you there, Jeff, and the photo I've got later on, I think you'll love. 08 November, M0 AUG milligram and 4JKZ.
Just find that case and try to get your sorted out as a and we'll look forward to put the photos together. I think we've got quite a way to go tonight before we have what's the problem. So, good result, room for everybody. People who've interfered, softened and enjoyed themselves. Over to you there, Martin. M1, MRB in the group, M0H. Yeah, M0AUG. One of them might be returning. Yes, we were all saying Freaking Souls was great. I have to be totally honest, ashamed of myself. I bought nothing at Free Exile in the show or the flea market. I thoroughly enjoyed my time, and before any of you think that the ICQ podcast is given stuff, we don't take freebies, so I bought nothing, but I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I almost bought one of Hans Summers' rents, and I might an RNO possibly with a later date, but interesting check to Hans Summers again. One thing we did come across, and this is not to upset any of our journals here tonight, but just as you ever go, we went to Lindell, and Lindell has an island. We were on Lindell Island on Sunday. I was approached, because I had a walkie-talkie with me, I was approached by, in fairness, a child who told me he was a police officer. He looked about 12. So I said, where's your ID? And he pulled out his phone and he showed me a picture of an ID card on a phone. I went, no, mate, no. And he started shouting at me, you're not allowed to use radios on VNO. And I said, calm down. I actually have a license to use this. I said, so there is no problem here. If you really do want me to stop, I will obey your command, but I want to see your proper ID card first. Or we'll walk across to the police station and you and I go in and we'll discuss it in there. But don't come across and shout at me that I'm not allowed to use a radio when you haven't got a clue what it is. And he said, well, you're on a police man. I said, no, I'm not. And so I think the problem was the child was somewhere in the spectrum. I think he was a police wannabe and he just thought he'd try it on with me. And unfortunately, I was polite to him, but he didn't spoil that day too much. But just be aware, if you do go to Lindau Island, you might end up in the same situation. So with that, I'll pass it back to you, Jeff, on that sorry note. M0AUG MRB. It's unfortunate that Martin, but obviously you skillfully maneuvered yourself around nothing but well doing the map. Right, going over to Jeff and Belgium now, but we'll be sharing the net next week if I'm away. So, also remember thank you in the group. 0AUG. Hope all is well with you, Jeff.
Mike 0AUG, the group 08 November Tango. Yes, very strange situation. Okay, though, I just came back to my normal way of operating with the 9700 and terminal mode, yeah. So that was a test that I did with the OpenSpot and the smartphone, which seems to work reasonably well. Yeah, first of all, yeah, the video of Mike and Adriana, I really liked it. I would say it's professionally made. I really enjoyed that. I looked to it several times. And of course, one of the things I really like in that video is the story about the remote DARC, the remote system from the Deutsche Amateur Radio Club. Very, very good idea. I think this is the future, really. And I hope that other national societies are the same. So I went to look to that video from Delta Lima 2 Yankee Mike Romeo, which gives a little bit more background of the whole story. Very interesting. So very happy about that. Yeah, okay, radio-wise, I'm very happy to work on 2 meters at Echo Alpha 7 for the first time. I'm really very much surprised. And then an hour later on 4 meters, I worked several Echo Alpha 7. So there was really some sporadic EF, I think, on VHF. So I really enjoyed that. And of course, also working Ken in Spain was very nice. And he also made a recording of my sound, and I made a recording of his transmission. So that was good fun. Radio-wise, one of the things I have done also last week was decoding slow scan TV pictures from a satellite, the UMCA-1, the Uniform Mike Kilo Alpha 1, which was transmitting children drawings. Was a little bit of a challenge because that satellite is only transmitting with 300 milliwatts, while the ISS has 10 watts. So that was really a challenge to decode. But anyway, I got some reasonably good pictures. So that was another learning curve, and I had to use my little long periodic antenna for that. Okido, and there is a new version of Droidstar made by a Indian amateur Victor Uniform 3 Lima Victor Oscar, I think. And if you want to have more information on that, there is a link where you can download it. I just put that in my notes that I put on the WhatsApp website today. So, yeah. That's more or less the story. Oh yeah, my notes, yeah. I made them for a practical wireless for the VHF column. Of course, Tim is not taking everything from me because there are also some other contributors, but I just decided to put it on the WhatsApp group. And I also offered them to our national society here, to the UBA, to put it in our national amateur radio magazine. So they accepted that. So, yeah. So that's good that information is spread, and especially that is shown that even with modest equipment, compromise situations, you can still do a lot of things on VHF and up. Okay, now I put it back to you, Jeff. My 0AUG, the group over 8 November Tango.
Time 0AUG, Yeah, I did see the news come up on the WhatsApp group, but not had a chance to look at them yet, yet, but I will be. So, I've not had a chance to view Shannon's video, and that's obviously one thing that's I'm going to try and catch up with over the weekend. So, well, it's all in Germany. 1BJW with the LAPDT. Over to you, Mike, M0AUG.
Yeah, there is a Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Turkey, thank you. First of all, Martin, sorry to the problems on Lindau Island. This shouldn't happen. Sorry about that. But by the way, we were there on Sunday noontime, so at the same time as you were there, and we had no problems. But it's curious to hear that you and we were both at the same spot, so to speak, at the same time. So, one word to ham radio. They have now published there were 11,000 visitors. There have been a little bit more in the last but 11,000 is still a very good number, I think. And they came from 50 trees. Nothing much to report here from our side. We tried to activate FT8 from the hotel room and the concert to take the antenna down very suddenly because of thunderstorms coming up. Thunderstorms, a big topic here in middle Germany, especially in the summer. We had taken down the antennas, of course, at the time we were not at home. Now being at home again, we picked up the antenna today. I looked into the weather forecast and they told me on Sunday and next Monday there will be several thunderstorms again, so I have to take down the antennas this weekend again. But nevertheless, we tried a little bit of experimenting again with the Ryberg antenna. We have to build that from an old fishing pole and some wire, and we'll let you know if we are sick. It's, by the way, it's not the published version for 40 to 10 meters, but only for 20 to 10 meters, which is very short indeed, only 4.9 meters long, and only using 3 radials, each 3 meters long. We had one of these specimens up the last summer, and it worked very well, even into the winter time. And I would like very much to have another vertical here permanently, or mostly permanently, to use. And with this small version, we also got some contacts in last summer on 40 meters. Were not too good, but it was working. Yeah, let's try it out and see. We'll report about it. So now I pass the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Yes, as Mike just said, weather conditions and general had been not so good for real QSOs during the last week, but I think the projects for QSOs are also possible here in Germany, and I think other conditions when it would be possible to work more outside there towers, it would be excellent, but with nearly 35 degrees and over there, it was not weather for a stroll with an antenna putting us on a rucksack or so. So I think there will be other possibilities. And yes, I'm very glad that the video had been quite well. So all our small variety of things we could show there. There's a lot more to be seen. And yes, the remote project of the DARC is quite remarkable. It just started at the ham radio, and the DARC has built up 50 remote stations all over the country, and it's possible to get into the system as an A-licensed amateur and with a member of the DARC, and there is a slot in which one can connect and make USOs there. And for DARC members, it's for free. Yes, and for Frank, you asked at Liebe if we might possibly see Hans Summers. Yes, it had been quite interesting to see the QX stand there, and Hans Summers had been in person at the stand all over the time, and it was quite amazing to see how patient and qualified he had been talking to all the visitors who had questions there. This was quite nice to see. Yes, that's all from my side. I have the microphone back to M0AUG from
UT with Neil on BJW in the group. 0AUG returning. Yeah, thanks for that, Mike. Sounds like you had a good time down there. I do look forward to catching up on the video. I've had just too much going on recently to be able to do anything at all really on radio, apart from there on the net. So, over to you there, Nick, for anyone else of your adventures. G4IW in the group, M0AUG.
M0AG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, thank you very much, Jeff, and very, very interesting. Yeah, not coming up on the dashboard. Jeff, can you just confirm I'm coming through?
Yes, you were. There you go. Go ahead, please.
Roger. Thanks very much, Jeff. I couldn't see that I'd come out. Very interesting contributions from everyone, and particularly I would like to draw attention to Mike and Adriana's superb little video from Friedrichshafen. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward as well to hearing more from Martin about some of the interviews they did at Friedrichshafen as well. And I do agree with Jeff and Mike and Adriana. I think the DARC remote stations being set up is a very good initiative. You know, we've got plenty of radio amateurs in this country who live in locations where it's not possible. Perhaps they're elderly, perhaps they're living in care homes and so on, where they're finding it difficult to operate on the radio. And I think it would give a fantastic opportunity for people in those situations to log on to a radio station and enjoy HF or VHF radio, whatever the stations are that are available. So I think it's a very good initiative by the DARC, and I would have thought the RSGB will be going that way themselves at some stage, but we'll wait and see. And I also, for Mike and Adriana, because you contacted me about this, Emil DL8JJ has offered to come and talk to the club about the de-expedition he did to the tiny island EU151 Peñata del Morro off the Spanish coast, where Emil managed to make 630 QSOs before the waves coming over his tent and radio forced him to give up his activation and to be taken off by boat. But I have dropped a note to Emil and offered him a few dates. So I'm sure we'll see Emil come and talk to us in his usual enthusiastic way about his exploits at Pennine. And I think I agree with the comment that Martin made about Emil DL8JJ. I don't think you ever see him without a smile on his face. He's one of the most positive people you can meet in amateur radio, and certainly even amongst the rest of the population that we come across. In terms of my own activations on the radio in France, I only managed to get on the air on 3 occasions, each of them inside the Parc Naturel Régional Baie de Somme, Picardy Maritime, FR 2491. I made 22 QSOs in 3 separate activations, but only 2 of them will count because on the same day I had 15 QSOs and on one day only 7. But of the 22 QSOs made using 5 watts and mainly on 20 meters, I worked 18 DXCC entities, and I had QSOs in 3 continents, mainly into Europe, 1 into North America, and 1 into Echo Alpha 8 in Africa. And that was all with 5 watts CW, other than my 5 watt single sideband to Ken down there in Spain. So I had a lot of fun, really enjoyed it, but I agree with the observation that Bob made there about HF conditions at the moment. They're not as good as they were a few weeks ago, although of course that's very common in the summer. I'm not alone in kind of expecting summer in the HF is going to see an improvement, and of course we don't. We see a deterioration in HF conditions, and also very, very deep QSB, and I found that was affecting my operating even on CW, where stations were simply just dropping below the noise floor, and I was missing whole sections of their overs or all the information they were giving me, which is a great pity. But I loved it. I enjoyed portable radio, and when I discovered that Ken was operating on 17 meter single sideband, I literally just leant over to the telescopic whip, the AliExpress telescopic whip, and pushed it down to what I hoped was going to be about the right length, no measurement taking place at all, and I checked the SWR and it was at 1 to 1.25, which is amazing. Just did that in the first attempt with no measurements whatsoever taking place, just by eye on the length of the pole. But it's a wonderful, simple antenna to put up. I've got 4 radials on the ground, just each of them 3 meters long, and I think it's pretty good that I can work 18 different countries with that and 3 continents. So back to you, Jeff. M0 AUG in the group, G4IWO.
Yeah, well done there, Nick, and it just shows what's possible when we give our base, and you've got some really good notes, and I'm sure you're well satisfied with that. So where we're up to now, we'll go to Frank, DG6LAY in the group, M0AUG.
Yeah, coincidence, the link, the video of the G7 from that one, and I've seen the video now. Got to see it again and pause it for looking at a lot of details. And although I'm living in Germany, the problem is I'm living at the opposite side of Friedrichshafen, and always when the starts, we also have a big festivity here in the city of Kiel, the so-called peak. which actually is a kind of sailing event, but now is a big festivity and has to do with sailing, parties, hot air balloon sail, and lots of concerts and stuff. So that is actually the week I want to be in here, and I've been to the radio in Friedrichshafen, but of course I can imagine that from other exhibitions there, that you come home with a total overload of ideas for projects and stuff, and that's always nice, and a good boost for the hobby to try new things and stuff. And it would have been interesting to meet Hans Summers, not I could have a question of he's so experienced at the start implementing SSB on his hardware with actually new approaches to an old mode and stuff. It would just be interesting to meet him and tell him that he's very patiently his development path on the group IO, where he of course gets a lot of feature requests, and he's very polite in denying some of the things that would just mess up the radio, and that would probably have been an interesting cue. So but I also I met last 2 weeks or so ago, I met a very interesting person. I met the guy, the radio operator, who actually got most of the here's my time on time. I'll give it back to 7.30pm1830z.
Why the group M08 detailing? Okay there, Frank, you just stand out a little bit there. We will be having just one more in a few minutes anyway. Let's see if we can just get hold of Dave in Taunton. G607 in the group, M0AUG. I think they've signed off for the evening there. Obviously got some issues to address. And over to you there, John. G3, SAO in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG in the group, G3 SAO returning. Yeah, I just looked on the dashboard, and I think it was only logged more about. Is it? Oh no, I'm not sure. No, it's been logged on for a long time, so I don't know what time it disappeared. Yes, very interesting from everybody. I've been doing my QRP little experiments again, and I would agree conditions have been, I suppose, fairly typical for this time of midsummer, in that the X has been hard to get hold of and to copy. And also that I noticed that I'm still looking at solar flux and how it's changing, and we're now down to 120, 130-ish as the norm. We're about halfway down, right down to solar minimum levels, I think. It's been a fairly rapid decline in solar flux since the peak last autumn, and it's certainly affected conditions. And when things have not been too good, like Chef, I've been looking on 6 meters, and I did manage, surprise myself this week. Things looked things looked very ordinary on 20 meters, and I thought I'll have a quick look on 6 meters, and the band looked dead. There didn't seem to be anything there. There was a faint signal on my waterfall, and eventually it decoded, and it was a station in Portugal. and we then had no difficulty in exchanging reports and completing the QSO. And there was nobody else on the band at all. But that's strategy for you, isn't it? So that was one or two of the things I've done in the last week. Interested, to hear from you, Jeff, about your 300 milliwatt decode from the satellite. That's quite impressive. I've decoded the ISS, but I can't imagine I would decode anything at that power level. But your balcony antennas do really well for you, as I have read the list of the stations you've worked on VHF via spreader key lately. It looked fairly impressive to me. But there we are. I don't think, I was just going to say I haven't much else to add, but I'm just going to mention that I totally missed the last minute of Nick's over. The lights on my Zoom spot went off, and there was total silence, or at least the signal lights, not the power light. There was total silence for at least the last minute of Nick's over, and the next thing I heard was Jeff coming back when he handed it over to him. I don't know whether anybody else experienced that, but at least the last minute was total silence from Nick. It's like someone had pulled a switch. I don't know what caused it, and without intervention, when Jeff came in at the changeover, no problem. However, I'm not going to stay on much longer, so if you're doing another round, Jeff, I won't be here when you get back to me. So I'm going to wish everybody a very good evening. The voice is feeling a bit too, isn't it? And I'm going to wish everybody 7.3. And I will listen probably for 5 or 10.
You just dropped out there, John. Anything further to run back to you?
I don't know where I dropped out, John. So I was just saying I'm staying on for about 5 or 10 minutes, but I won't be back for a third round. So I was wishing everybody a very good evening and 7.3 from me. Hopefully you got that, Jeff. Good evening.
Thanks, John. Yes, we got it. It's all tapped up now, so thanks for coming on to that this evening. We will be doing a final round in a few minutes, but thanks for joining us this evening. Over to Bob, around 4XL for Tango in the group, M0AUG. 0AUG with the group, number 4XL for Tango. I'm starting to get to the point where I can't read my writing, but I'll go through some of my notes here at any rate. Yesterday afternoon, I got to work at Golf Bravo 2 Holy Owl on 20 meters CW, and he had really a strong signal at one bottom of that 20. I don't have the frequency written down, but it was around 1412 or so, 14012, and he had a really nice signal. So I got him in the log yesterday afternoon. Jeff Owen8NT, you're readable using an Android, and as the other Jeff pointed out, there is a difference in the sound of your voice, but you're perfectly readable both ways. So that's what was interesting. Let me see what else. As of this morning, I have 2,453 XDs, so I need 47 more. I'm hoping the conditions hold up well enough to where I can get them. And today, for my picture, during the Kiel festivities, one of the members of MF Runda took a picture of the George Folk, as I say it, and it's without its sails up and so forth, and it's different. So today, that's what I'm going to use at the end of the rounds. Let's see if I have anything else here that's important. I guess that's about it. So back to you, M0AUG with the group. November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango. X-Ray Alpha Tango, group M0AUG attending. Yes, fine enough, and after just spoken with Lou, we're going to find the line, rearrange everybody so those who are sending photos here again. So thanks to that so far, Paul. Over to you, Lou, Jake. Group M0AUG.
M0AUG in the group GAKJJ. Yeah, fine business. Nick, I lost you for a little while on the last over, but I think that's down to my hotspot. Jeff, your audio is very nice. I thought on the open spot, I thought it was very nice indeed. So there's no problem there at all. And Keith, regards grass cutting, you very much should have some. In Nottingham, we haven't got grass, we've just got brown straw that's lying on the surface of the garden. So I think you're very fortunate. I really enjoyed the K8ZP's contesting for beginners presentation. It was very comprehensive, and the information was excellent. I've never done serious contesting, although I have given away a few points on occasion, but not in recent years. So maybe I'll have a go at the VHF NFD on RFD and give away a few points and see how it goes. But and I am looking forward to seeing Mike and Andriana's video. So that's another thing for later in the week. So I'll say 73s to everyone. Very nice to work with people again this week. All the information was very interesting, and we look forward to next week's next. I won't come back on the next one, Jeff. It'll be a little bit late for me, so I'll leave it at that. Anyway, back to you, Jeff, and the group GAKJJ.
JJ in the group M0AUG setting. Yes, fine enough, and you could join us as usual this evening, and obviously enjoy the evening as well. We're all looking forward to the things like Adriana's video and the other things we've not seen so far. So, this is the start of the final round. We do alter the order of the participants coming on, so that the people who are sending us pictures at the end can all send the pictures one after the other. So the running order now will be, we'll go for finals from Martin M1 NRB, followed by Mike and her, and then through to Frankie Keel, and then we'll go back to Bob in the States, and then you can see a picture Bob. Sorry, before we go to that, we'll go to Nick, G4IWO for the wrap-up, and then followed by N4X18 photograph, and GM4JKZ, and then Oscar November 8 November Tango. Let's see if all that works. Over to you for your finals there, Martin. And one MRB in the group, and join M0AUG.
Yeah, M0AUG, what am I yes. Right, just a few things. First off, Nick, I lost you for about a minute. I wonder if there's a timeout somewhere in the system, whether you've got well, you seem to be transmitting, or the hotspot dashboard was showing transmission, but no audio coming through, so I wonder if there's a hotspot or a transmission link somewhere in this system that's stopping at about 2.5 minutes. Mike, living in Germany, listen, I don't apologise for the child. I think the problem was, he was a wannabe policeman, and he did look, he
he did look as though he was a bit on the spectrum. He didn't cause me any real problems, and it makes an interesting little chat. But I just felt sorry for the guy. He was just trying to pretend he was an adult, and it didn't work particularly well. But that's his problem. He'll get over it. And as I say, all I can do now is thank you all for letting me in tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And Mike and Adriana, I'm glad you managed home safely. And I will look out for your video as well. I'll find it on YouTube, I'm sure, and have a watch. So all the best to all of you. I'm going to say 73s, and I'll watch the pictures when they come in. So 73s from M1MRB, and back to Jeff, M0AUG. M1MRB, the group M0AUG. You're fine enough, Martin. Always a pleasure to have you on when time allows. I appreciate how busy you are. As always, welcome the input to this net. Right, so we're going to go over now to Northern Germany for your finals, please. D1 BJW with DLA to PDT in the group. Over to you, Mike, M0AG.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey for the final. Yes, first of all, curiously enough, we hadn't problems in receiving the last over of Nick. There were only some interruptions for a few seconds, but nothing much. So it's as always the mysteries of the internet. And one last remark about Hans Summers and the QRP labs. We heard from Hans Summers that he was asked about the new software doing SSB on the QMX, and he said that there's a beta version which can be used, but he will publish his own version after thoroughly testing the SSB faculties on the QMX, which will take some time still. He reckons about 2 or 3 months at the minimum for his publication of the SSB possibility QMX. Okay, so thank you very much for this pleasant evening. As always, a pleasure to meet you all and hear your interesting stories and infos there. And thank you very much, Jeff, for hosting the net. Excellent as always, and hope we will all meet again in a week's time, safe and sound. And there will be not so many thunderstorms, HI, so that we can all keep our antennas in the air. All fingers crossed. So 73s again from Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey, wishing you all the very best, and passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango final. Yes, first of all, congrats to Nick for your QRP successes during your stay in France. It's quite interesting what's possible with QRP. Even if the conditions aren't on top, it's always possible, especially in CW, to make some good contact. And yes, we had the possibility to see Anthony's talk about contesting, but I think we will see it shortly on YouTube, and this will be quite interesting. And Nick, it sounds good that you've got Emil for a talk. This will be very, very interesting. We heard some short notes about it, and I think it will be a quite good talk. And Martin we are very much looking forward to the next ICQ podcast, where you will send all the interviews you've made with the interesting people there at the ham radio, and this will be quite enjoyable. And yes, last but not least, I wish you all a pleasant evening, good weekend, and hope to meet you down the log soon. By 73 and 88 from northern Germany. This will be my Bravo Delta Tango, handing the microphone back to M0.
Thanks for that, Mark Artiana, and thanks for your patience this evening. I will look forward to watching the video. Just had too much real things going on so far. So, before we go into the big round, I think I leave us anything for this night, Frank. TG60AY in the group, M0AG.
Yes, I can also something I also lost the last minute of Nick, and I looked on the dashboard of my hotspot and saw the dashboard. On the dashboard I saw that he was still transmitting, so I just waited a little bit, and then everything worked out fine again. So there must have been a kind of glitch, and every hotspot hardware, software, and also the software in the radio seems to interpret the things differently, and so probably my ID51, which is not the latest version, could not resynchronize the radios. Maybe you were able to resynchronize the Nick or so. So there are probably some differences in the kinds of hardware software we are using here. And Hans Thomas, he explained that the way he is doing, he has been implementing the SSB mode on the QMX. There's a special name for that kind of SSB mode, but I forgot it. He's shaping the SSB signal in such a way that the signal is compared like it, although the transceiver is only outputting 5 watts. So the difference between 5 and 10 watts is not big, but every little bit helps. So maybe he's working on more tracks, and it's always interesting what's happening on the procurement. And to Bob, I missed the going folk this year because I missed Friedrichshafen because of the Kiel week, and I missed the last few days of the Kiel week because of Helgoland, and the going folk returned late, and so I missed them this year. But besides that, they are quite often here in Kiel, and I missed the main sailing event on the last day. And I could tell a lot of more stories about the submarine, the guy which I met, the guy who brought all the radios back into the submarine. It came empty from Norway, and I probably got only a fraction of his stories, and I hope to meet him again soon and let him hear more stories about the radios and that he came back into the submarine. But I will keep that for one of the next Thursday nuts, and we'll eventually tell just a few stories now and then about that. So thanks for having me here, and I enjoyed it being back again, and hope to see you soon again, maybe next week or so. So 7.30 from Pennine.
Okay there, Frank, and just got in before the dips there. Thanks for joining us again this evening on the input, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next time. I didn't personally get finished up out from Nick at all last time, so it must be out in the Ethernet and blend the internet. So there we are. So what we'll do now, I'm going to pass over to Nick, so you can do the wrap up, Nick, and then we'll go back to Bob for your final on your picture, followed by Keith for your final and picture, and then there's a final over to Jeffrey Belgium for your final and your picture. So to start that off, let's come back over to Nick. Chief 1IW in the group, 0AG.
M0AG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, thank you very much, Jeff, and thank you everyone for a really, really interesting net. And thank you for those that have been watching us live on YouTube. And of course, a big hello to our friends and members who log on sometime in the next week or so to listen to the digital net, which goes up on YouTube once this is completed. And I hope you enjoy the contributions as much as I do from our members who participate in this, and our friends as well who take part in the digital net, and always interesting. Can I just say particularly to Jeff ON8NT, and I made this comment on the club WhatsApp group, I think his VHF report is absolutely inspiring, and even more inspiring when you look down and read the antennas that he's using to make these QSOs with. Just really, really shows you that what we can do with radio and what we can do with space and so on to enjoy ourselves. So well done to Jeff, and a great report, of course, for Practical Wireless. And next week at the club we have Steve, G0FUW, the chair of the GQRP Club, to come and talk to us about the GQRP Club, what it's doing at the moment, their upcoming convention at the end of August, and some of their latest material that they're producing, and QRP generally, which I'm sure we will all very much enjoy. So I'm very much looking forward to having Steve back talking with us at Pennine Ham. In fact, the first time he would have come to Pennine Ham to talk, but he did talk when we were involved previously with Denby Dale. And finally, just on the QRP front, a very active GQRP club member, Peter, GM0EUL, produces a micro Morse key, which he sells as a small business, and I use that in France. It is absolutely superb. It's about the size of the top part of my thumb on one of my fingers or one of my hands, and it's very, very small, but it's got a nice simple movement to it. I don't think I'd want to try and send Morse code at any great speed, but when I was operating portable, I was using about 20 words a minute, and the Morse key was really comfortable to use at those speeds. So very much recommend, just have a look at the website for GM0EUL, and it's his version of the old Palm key, which of course is no longer being made, although there are some amateurs now in Germany producing their own version of it, but it's certainly not, the version they're producing is certainly not cheap, and Peter's version is much better value. So on that note, good night everybody, thank you for your company, been great fun, and I'll pass the microphone back to Jeff. M0AG in the group, G4IWO.
Yes, fine on Monday. It's been a good night. I mean, you've right, different contributions from all over the place. Well, what we'll do is, Bob, for your final Bob, plus your picture, please. November 4 X Alpha, leave in the good AG. Thanks for joining us this evening, Bob. Take care. This is your Eugene Group. November 4 Alpha Tango. First of all, thank you for running a fantastic net this evening. I thoroughly enjoyed it, Jeff, and glad that I could come aboard. My picture tonight is a three-masted tall ship with the sails folded up. So it looks a bit different than most of the pictures that you would see of this ship. This is the George. thing, no picture yet, Bob. TM0AG. Perfect picture with me there, Bob. Over to you, Chief and Jeff.
Perfect picture here as well, Bob.
PM4JKZ. And perfect here also. Congratulations. Very nice picture.
Thanks, Bob, and thanks for the picture. Look forward to catching up with you in my part 2 weeks. I'm away next week, so I'm going to miss these things on the next week's meeting, which my colleague Jeff and Pennine and team will be taking. So once again, Bob, stay safe and look forward to catching up with you next time. Over to you there, Keith, GM4JKZ. For your picture, please. M0AG.
From GM4JKZ, yeah, thanks, Jeff, and thanks for hosting the net again this evening. And a nice cluster of people tonight, and very informative, I must admit. And it's good to hear Bob back. No lightning, so there you go. I reckon with the last numbers you gave us on your motor, you're 102 higher up now with your 2453. Okay, picture tonight is my favourite ship of the 60s. Those within Europe may know what I'm talking about, but I might have to explain it to Bob afterwards. Correct, son?
Perfect picture of Radio Caroline there, Keith. And over to Bob first and then Jeff. Perfect picture, Keith. You don't have to mention anything about it. I used to listen to all of the stations. You must remember, in 1954, I was moved to Bremerhaven, Germany, and I spent from most of the early part of my naval career in Europe. So between Radio Luxembourg and all of those pirate ships, I used to listen to all of them high. And I have a perfect view.
N4XAT.
Jeff?
TM4JKZ.
Okay. Mike Zero, AUG, and the group coordinator for Tango of Kane. Of course, that's good memory. Radio Caroline, we grew up with that, you know. We grew up, and also Radio London and the other stations. Really good fun. Okay, the whole week I had any problem with you copying you here, and so I didn't have any problem. There were no interruptions whatsoever. So there's something strange is happening in the kingdom of I don't know where, but anyway, okay. And congratulations on your QRP adventures there in France. Very nice. That's really very good. And thanks for the reports that some of you gave on my Android transmission in the beginning. So that's just another thing that we have here as a possibility to work with. It's always good to have some extra possibilities. By the way, in our national magazine from our national society, there was an article on a portable hex beam for 10 and 6 meters. So if anyone wants to have a copy of that, just drop me a line and I can send you that. It's in French and Dutch, but of course Google Translate is your friend. So with the help of Google Translate, you can probably make something out of it. This week also I experimented with that new portable that I have, this VG-BRN76, and I managed this week to connect that with the DNC and the Bluetooth to my APRS Droid app on my phone. So that's very interesting. You can with the transceiver on itself, you can also do APRS, but it's a little bit comfortable on the screen of your smartphone or your tablet. So that's the story. The picture tonight is a picture of the old ship, a Dutch ship, which is called the hydrograph, which was doing hydrographic scientific work in the North Sea here. It's a ship which is nearly 100 years old. It's called the hydrograph, and it's still used. It is still used every year to bring San Nicolas from Spain to the harbor of Rotterdam. So it's still used for that. It's like an old steamboat, like in the song about San Nicolas. So this ship also visited our maritime festival here in Oosten. So really good thing. So the picture is coming. QRX. I will leave a little pause and then the picture is coming.
Perfect picture, Jeff. Over to you, Bob and Keith. Perfect picture, Jeff. Beautiful picture. I guess we have good connections this evening.